And yes, people. So today we are in Dubai, one of my favorite places, and we got a super cool guest today. His name is Ciaran. He has built a 7-figure agency for D2C brands, been traveling the globe and has learned multiple languages. All round great dude. Sounds like a dating situation, but he's a great dude. And I think this podcast is going to be super valuable, and I've prepared it in a way to which I'm going to be asking questions so I can be learning from him. So you can definitely be taking some value as well. Super cool to have you on, bro. I'll give you a little...
Yeah, quick fist bump around the mics. Here we go. Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. Super excited to be here.
And let's start with the famous question is, who are you and what do you do, bro?
Yes, so already had a very nice intro from you there. I appreciate the kind words. But yeah, my name's Ciaran. I run a performance marketing agency. So we scale e-commerce brands. We mainly focus on customer acquisition through paid ads, content, and growth consulting, essentially. So we help e-com brands scale.
Obviously, this didn't come straight away. What is the origin story? You're a UK boy.
Yep.
Manny.
Yep.
What is the origin story? How did it all start?
Yeah. So I was at uni. I was studying triple language with business, and I was working at the same time as a auxiliary nurse in the NHS. So I was working in the COVID hospitals when COVID was happening in the field hospitals. I decided I wanted to be a doctor, and I couldn't get a second student loan because I already had one. So I was like, cool, I'm going to have to pay for this. So that was when I looked back at what I'd been doing. I'd sort of touched on online business slightly before, and I was like, cool, let's get into this so I can actually pay for uni. I then decided I loved it so much that I didn't want to go into medicine and stuck with the business.
Okay, sick. So what age was this?
So I would have been 22. I'm 25 right now, nearly 26.
So what was the decision for agency? Obviously, you went down that agency route, not e-com specifically.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Kind of by accident, really. A friend of mine had a Facebook ads course. He gave me the login to it. I went through the course and I was like, this is pretty cool. So then I started looking for, and in the course it spoke a bit about the business model of an agency. And I was like, I was kind of drawn to it. So then I started looking for people who could help me learn that business model. Came across Jordan Platten, who was and still is teaching people how to start an agency and get it off the ground in terms of the basic structure and things like that. From there, really. So he basically taught me all the basics. Super appreciative for, if anyone's thinking of starting an agency, would recommend learning the basics from him. And yeah, and then from there, kind of just took my own path and rolled with it. And now here we are today.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
So obviously, what was the process getting your first client essentially?
Yeah, so I vividly remember everyone's like, pick a niche, and most people just pick a niche at random, right? So as in a niche for, instead of trying to sign any business owner, you pick a specific type of business that you will try and service as an agency, right? And I remember I randomly picked physiotherapists and chiropractors and things like that. And I remember cold calling up physio clinics, getting absolutely nowhere, getting on a sales call with some, trying to pitch them £500 as my monthly retainer, and then being like, absolutely not. And people like, this isn't really working. Then I kind of flipped the script and I was like, I'm going against so many agencies who have so many case studies. They have all the experience. They have everything that I don't have, right? In comparison, I was just a fool in my parents' bedroom, basically, right? Which is what I was compared to these super successful and people with lots of experience, right? So I was like, I need to find my own way to compete. So I looked at what I had where I could leverage an unfair advantage. And for me, that was languages. That's what I chose because I was studying languages at university and I had been traveling. I'd spent 6 months in Colombia. I understood a lot about other cultures and things like that. So the first client that I signed was a language course seller. And the second client that I signed was quite a large language learning app. Those two came from leveraging that. So it was so much less about I'm an expert, I can help. It was much more like I'm a language student. I understand your business. I'm also studying this here and I'm very hungry. Let's see what we can do.
Okay, perfect.
And it worked very well.
So you went down the classic route, right? This business works. How can we make it different? You took a different approach and hit basically a different niche.
Yeah.
And you were able to basically get clients and get your first bit of revenue, which is sick.
Yep.
Obviously, you've scaled your agency to decent amounts. You're living in Dubai. A lot of people aspire to be in this position. In the 3 years, I think it was, of your agency journey, what were the key steps that got you to where you are today? So for me, significant positions were when I met a certain person or there was a certain life event and this took me to the next level. What was that for you?
So biggest steps were that one that I explained there was the first one. So finding an unfair advantage to be able to actually get your first clients. That's what so many people can't even get their first client. And without that, you have nothing, right? So leveraging that to figure out how to get my first client. From there, it was beginning to invest in myself to learn more. I vividly remember I was staying, I just moved out of my house, so the business had seen a bit of success. I think it wasn't very much at all, but enough to where I could actually move out of my parents' house. So I was paying the rent, I was living with my ex-girlfriend, and we had bills to pay. I at this point, I'd ran out of personal cash. I'd used all my student loan, and I had about 10 grand left in the business bank account. I knew that I needed to invest in the business to get to the next level. I knew that I'd found a consultant as well, a few different consultants who could help me on different things, mainly around client acquisition and things like that. I was kind of had a choice, right? I was like, do I play it safe, take this money and pay the rent? Or do I invest in a business and hope it pays off, right? I chose to invest in a business, and then within a month, I 4x'd the business, right? And investing in myself has always been there. A lot of people I see are afraid to invest in themselves. I've spent over $100,000 at this point on consultants, mentorships, courses, all this stuff to learn, right? Way more than a university degree. That has been one key thing, I'd say, to getting that success.
Right, the past couple months, the Nugennath network has been running. It is the e-commerce community that I have been building, and the results have been pretty crazy. One of the students just hit 40K last month. We had another guy reach 10K day within 12 days of joining. I literally have the full video on YouTube as well. So I'm plugging this in here because if you are not in the private network and you are looking to start, scale, or launch your dropshipping store, turn it into a brand and actually build a long-term business, this is where you want to be. This is going to be one of the highest level e-commerce communities from beginners to advanced with the most valuable information compared to price. You're not going to get anything else like on the market. I've built it exactly how I would want it if I was starting again. Get involved, link below.
Then outside of that, it's been hiring a team. So when I first had the business, when I first started, I handled the first 5 clients all myself. So I was doing everything. It was just me. And a lot of people get stuck in that mode because they either are scared of hiring or they think it's going to, when it's you on your own, you keep all the profits, right? It's extremely profitable. Yeah. And a lot of people get stuck in there and they don't like to see the profits drop when they hire. But that's the only way that you can grow because you get so capped at that level. And now I make way more than what I was when I was working alone. And I also have the freedom to work on the business instead of in the business, right?
One of the biggest problems with an agency, you said key hires are super important. How do you keep these key hires on? Because most people you employ, if they get good, what if they think they could do it for themselves? So how do you keep a long-term team? Because if you keep having to train people, you're effectively starting again and again and again.
Yeah. So in the 3 years that we have been in business, we've never had a team member leave us. We've let team members go, either if they weren't performing, they weren't up to the standard, or just something else didn't work out and we naturally left. We've never had a team member leave us, right? And the big thing is it all starts from the hiring process, right? You need to hire the right people. You need to really understand who they are. And a lot of people kind of just go, yeah, we'll just bring on anyone. They're just a contractor, whatever, right? I've never taken that approach. I've put way more time and effort into hiring than anyone else that I know. And even still, I don't think it's anywhere near enough as it should be. It's the most important thing. Like a company is literally just a collection of people working towards a shared goal. That's it. And in an agency, that's 10x because your product is also people, right? You are providing a service which people fulfill. It's not like an e-com brand where your product is product, right? Where the only service you have is customer service, right? So it's the most important side. A big thing for that is starting from the hiring process, making sure they're hiring the right people. Then from there, it's really having a vision. Like I remember Maz, who's now our head of performance. He basically leads client results and everything related to it. He was the first service delivery team member that I hired. So the first team member I hired was to help me on the sales side so I could continue delivering results to clients. And then the next person I hired was Maz, who was essentially the first media buyer that I brought on. And I specifically remember there was one point where Maz said to me, he was like, bro, so we were talking, this was recently, and he was like, bro, when you brought me on, it wasn't for Bluefin, which is the name of the agency, right? It wasn't for the agency. It wasn't for any of this because it was just like the agency was a thing, but it was just you. Like you had no team members. I just came on because of you. Like I just trusted you. I saw your vision. I liked where you were going and I just felt comfortable being with you and being on your team. And I was like, and he was like, bro, and whatever you do, I'm going to stay with you. And I was like, bro, like it almost brought a tear to my eye. I was like, that's that's crazy. Because I'd never really consciously wanted that. I'd never consciously thought about it. But looking back, I've always had a very strong vision. And I've always been able to communicate that vision well so that the team members can buy into that and everyone can be behind a shared goal and vision. And when you have that, they're not going to want to leave because they're part of the team. They buy into it.
Yeah, that is super key. That is super key. So you managed to you train these guys up as well. And then that knowledge you acquired, was that through the process of learning the business yourself?
I handled ads for the first 5 clients myself. The second client I handled, I took them from spending 0 to spending 50 grand a month profitably on ads. The amount of knowledge I learned whilst doing that was crazy. So that was like, you can sit and you can study and you can watch videos as much as you want. But again, hands-on experience and actually doing it is the only way you're really going to learn something deeply. So yeah, so learning that myself, that was really how. And that's why I also brought on help first on the sales side rather than on the service delivery side, because I wanted to carry on delivering those results to clients and I wanted to carry on learning and deepening that skill. And also to give me extra time to make sure that the team member I brought on to help with that, I could properly help and support them. If my sales dropped, I didn't really care because I know I could bring them back up. And it was me who suffered with that. If my service delivery dropped, it was clients who suffered and the business's reputation that suffered. And I wasn't willing to allow that. I was way more happy to let sales drop than I was to let client results drop at that time.
Obviously, a bit of a change. Black Friday was just come up, one of the biggest times in e-commerce history.
Yes.
And actually Shopify posted up, it's like year-on-year growth. So the e-commerce sales are just going up and up and up. I think it was like 4.3 billion, I think, in one day, which is pretty nuts.
In one day.
Ciaran is managing multiple D2C brands, so it's a great person to ask questions on it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it went pretty well.
Yeah.
What were the biggest levers presented in the companies that you work with that generated the most increased results? So what do companies do to improve the results the most?
Yeah, so the biggest mistake that we see brands make all the time with Black Friday is the offers that they run. Okay. So a lot of brands will just go, cool, it's Black Friday, let's just do 30% off the whole site, or let's do 40% off the whole site. The problem is that a lot of the time, the cost of advertising will shoot up, right? Yeah. So if you get a lot of your customers from advertising, yes, you can essentially get a higher conversion rate by giving an offer like that, but your cost of advertising will be higher. And a lot of times brands CPA, so their cost per purchase, the cost that they pay to acquire a customer will not be that much lower. Okay. And so what happens is they shave off so much of their revenue. Cost per acquisition drops slightly, but not in the right proportion, and their profit is tiny. So we always work very closely with clients to help them structure an offer where they can still keep high revenue, so that there's a lot more profit on the back end. So rather than just saying, hey, take 30% off everything, we structure it and go, cool, what can we do here to make sense to the brand? Can we do buy 2, get 1 free, or spend a certain amount and get this free gift, or things like that? Something where it's still something that people want to do, but you convince them to spend a lot more rather than just spending less and then shaving 30% off it blindly like that. That's one of the biggest things that brands can do.
Regarding to niches and stuff in e-commerce, what were the best niches that you saw perform for you?
I wouldn't say specific niche. I think it more depends on the brand. So brands that have put a lot of focus on branding and developing an ecosystem of buyers, right? So if they have a very large customer base already, or they have a good organic following, or they have a solid email list that they've put a lot of focus in the past into building, those are the ones that always do very well on Black Friday. Reason for that is because, like I said, cost of advertising shoots up. So if you're trying to acquire new customers all the time, completely cold during Black Friday, you're going to have very high costs in doing that. Whereas if you already have an ecosystem that you've basically invested into in the past throughout the year, so email lists, socials, previous buyers, whatever it might be, organic following, and you can then target those. It's going to be a lot cheaper to target those during Black Friday than it is to try and go and search for new customers. And so those are typically the brands that we see do the best rather than a specific niche.
Banging. That's what I want to focus on next year as well.
Yeah, man. So important.
All right. That was a good answer. And then basically the other thing is TikTok, Facebook, Google, Pinterest, everything.
Yeah.
Which is the number one spending platform still for your clients?
So we actually ran the data last month. We spend pretty equally between Facebook and Google, actually.
Oh, fair.
Every month we reach the end of the month and we go, we've spent more on Facebook. And then we look at it and we go, oh no, it's still equal. Usually we see on the on-platform ROAS, we see Google as the highest. But that's because a lot of the time, Facebook will drive a lot of the first awareness, and then it will then get attributed to Google. So when we actually look at the data through Triple Whale properly, we can see how that customer journey looks, and Facebook is a big driver. But yeah, typically, I think TikTok was a huge hype. I think some brands can still do very well on TikTok. Most of our clients, we see way worse results on TikTok. Sometimes we can see the same or even slightly higher ROAS on TikTok, And then brands will go, cool, yeah, let's run this. But the problem there is the content. So out of a brand that's spending whatever, 30 grand a month on TikTok or 40 grand a month on TikTok and getting the same or slightly higher ROAS than Facebook. But the problem is they're then spending 5-10 grand a month on content purely just for TikTok, right? And so when you take into account the content costs and the ad costs, the actual ROI is lower.
Okay, so this is the thing I want to pinpoint, because everyone's like, all these gurus online, like the dropshipper gurus,
yeah,
they're selling all these courses. Obviously everyone has a USP, myself included, in the business.
Yeah.
But everyone says TikTok ads, TikTok shop.
Yeah.
But I just know it's like, obviously Facebook is still king.
Yeah.
Have you looked into TikTok shop as well?
So that's something that we are looking into a lot more now. We haven't looked into it too much because most of our clients mainly spend through Facebook and Google.
Yeah.
So Facebook shop, Instagram shop, we do a lot of. TikTok we're looking into. We have a couple of clients on TikTok, so we're looking into that in a minute, yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I want to take a proper look into TikTok shop as well.
Yeah, I've seen big things from it, yeah.
100%.
But yeah, it's not been our focus.
So your biggest client right now, what was the process of acquiring that client, and like how did you increase their revenue if you did? Like what was the process of you working with them, and how's that gone? Like before and after results? Yeah,
so most of our clients we get through outreach. So we'll see brands that we like and we'll outreach to them, right? We also get a lot of brands through referrals.
Okay.
Typically we find the larger brands would come through referrals, and typically because they're a lot warmer, because they're warmer, you can develop a better relationship in the sales process, or it's much easier to do that. And then you can structure a deal that makes sense for both, right?
Okay.
If it's a very cold prospect that comes on, it takes a lot more time to warm up that process to where you both feel like you trust each other. Because it's not just the brand either. If we're structuring a deal, because we don't just say, hey, this is our price, like every client is the same. Because every client is very different. We have some brands that require 5 times more work than others, so it wouldn't make any sense. So it's very custom, and so it can work both ways, right? A lot of brands might think, oh no, like I need to make sure I'm not getting ripped off, but we're the same. It needs to make sense for us as well, so we need to trust the client. Yeah. So when I'm on calls, I'm also like, okay, how much can I trust this person? There's also a lot of the time with deal structures, it's never clear cut, and you can never understand a business well enough and their situation well enough from a few Zoom calls to be able to properly predict. So there usually is an element of trust from my end and from the brand's end, right? But yeah, in terms of the largest clients, they typically come through referrals for us. Recently, a good example is they sell, it's a very specific client, but it absolutely popped with ads. So they sell motors for fishing boats.
Oh,
super niche. But because of who they are, they have very strong unique selling points around what they do. But they weren't that really well known in the market, and we kind of saw that and we capitalized on that. So we also handle creative for brands. So the ad creative we made really focused on the unique selling points, and it absolutely popped, especially because it has a slightly higher average order value. It meant we could really drive it and spend a lot more. And then we ended up tripling the revenue in the first 3 months in starting the ads.
That's really good. Yeah. Back to creatives, actually. Creatives is probably one of the biggest driving factors, right? Because
massive.
If you've got good product, good creative, it's pretty easy to scale. Yeah. What's working? What are you seeing brands tend to do? Are static images still performing well?
Yeah. So totally depends on the brand, right? We internally are seeing 2 clear divisions, and we are looking at splitting our service out into 2. So on one side, you've got brands that have a high number of SKUs, and that would typically be like a fashion brand, for example, right? High number of SKUs, they'd regularly run promos, and they'd regularly drop new products. There's also not so much in the way of a clear problem that the product solves. Some fashion brands do, right? If I'm buying this black t-shirt, it's because it looks cool. It's not because, it might be one where you've seen the one where you can pour stuff on the shirt and there's no stains, right? That's a clear problem solution product. This isn't. It just looks cool, right? So it's much more visual based. So you can make creative, but it's much less direct response marketing principles, right? It's much more high volume for the promos, for the product drops, and lots of SKUs being run. So that's one side. Then you've got the brands which would typically be a low number of SKUs that are very problem solution. So think supplements, CPG brands, hair care, all this stuff where it solves a clear problem. That's where you can really dive very deep on the creative, and that's where it requires a lot of time and attention. So for the high SKU brands, yes, images work, static images work, especially for fashion, because people want to see the product and it can work very well. For something that solves a problem, images don't work too well, because you need to communicate how your product is a solution to their problem, right? So it doesn't work too well. But on that side, what we're seeing work very well is UGC was working super well. Now, I think the market can see UGC and everyone's kind of a bit blind to it. And what's working really well for us at the minute is try and make our videos look as organic as possible. So that was in the past UGC, right? But even now, it's so obvious, right? If someone's like, 3 reasons why TikTok made me buy this product, is like, obviously it's an ad. Everyone sees it, it's like, oh, it's an ad. Like, I don't want to see that. Whereas like if you think of organic content, there are videos that get millions and millions and millions of views for free.
Yeah.
Right? So why would we not make our ads look like that? Right? And what we've seen is when we can focus on making our ads look so much like viral organic content. I don't just mean organic, I mean viral organic content. When we make ads like that, the cost of advertising massively drops. So we literally had an account the other day where the average CPM, which is a cost per 1,000 views, that's what Facebook charges us. The average CPM in the account was $70. When we started focusing on this organic content, we were getting it down to $40 or $30 for the ad. Basically doubling the ROAS, keeping everything else the same, just by making the ad look like viral organic content.
Another thing I've been seeing actually is like long form VSLs.
Yeah.
So like 2 to 5 minute ads.
Yeah. So much more for like, would just be like more like supplement or stuff like that. Yeah.
Or like problem solving products, but they're smashing it, bro. Like I've seen some, even people bringing back like old drop shipping products, like with long form VSLs, absolutely killing it, man.
Yeah. What kind of example of products do you think of any?
Back stretcher, the one where you like lie down, it clicks your lower back.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Someone scaled it to like $1 million a month again.
Really?
With long form VSLs. Like
what? So what were they focusing on? Like curing back pain?
Yeah. So they do like a long form VSL. They get like a fake doctor, put them in a coat. And do like a 5-minute video ad, because obviously you can do 10-minute ads on Facebook and Instagram now.
Yeah.
And they basically like, have you got these problems? This is what you can do. And then like 2 or 3 minutes into that ad, they'll promote the product, say we're partnered with this store. So like you don't hard sell them, you just tell them solutions for the problem. Yeah. And then you introduce the product. So pretty much if they've watched 3-4 minutes, they might as well just buy it if it's like 30 quid anyway.
I think that would work so much better for the older generation, which is probably what that back products is going for, right? If it's helping a bad back, a lot of the older generation have that. And we see that a lot. So we have one client where they sell a vertical garden tower. So basically you can have it in your apartment or at home and you can plant stuff in there. One of their main demographics that buy are slightly older generation, 60 plus, right? And for them, we can do all of the old school marketing that would not work now. So we can run ads where it's like breaking news and it has like news photos and stuff or like stuff that looks like an article where anyone, you know, like a listicle kind of thing where anyone would read it and be like, no, it's clearly an ad. Whereas for the older generation, it works so well. It still works. It's like what we used to work in ads 10 years ago still works on the older generation, compared to now, like young people our age, they just smell an ad a mile away. They just see it and like, oh, that's an ad. It's so clear.
You also said about Twitter. You've ran ads on Twitter. How does that look like? 'Cause I've never run a single ad on Twitter, nothing.
We had one client where we ran Twitter ads and Reddit ads, actually.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah. My COO organised that. So I personally actually can't comment on that. Because I never have personally ran Twitter or Reddit. I've been involved in the strategy, right? So Reddit is very much more like meme style ads. Okay. So like you have to understand the platform, because Reddit is a platform where kind of like Twitter, where it's just ruthless, right? Like the people who are on that platform will just tear you to shreds with anything. So on Reddit, it needs to be, if it's an ad, they'll be like, oh, fuck off, like this is an ad, I don't want to see this. And everyone would be commenting like, get this off my feed, like whatever. Prime example is one where you can, like someone will make it in Microsoft Paint or whatever, make a really bad ad and be like, my boss told me to make this ad, I don't know what I'm doing. And then they'd like post it on there and it'd just get loads of engagement, everyone would be loving it. Do that on Facebook and I don't think that would work that well, right? No. But that's kind of what works on Reddit. And then in terms of Twitter, I don't think we've spent much, to be fair.
I saw, mate, Elon's been going ham. Did you see that video on Twitter?
Which one?
Elon just, he was on some kind of like an interview.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
went nuts. Or like, it was just some mad
yeah.
thing, just trending.
He was like, what was he? He was like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, he was saying
Yeah,
the
he was like, I hope
advertisers-
they stop. Yeah, because they were trying to blackmail him, right?
Yeah, something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. And he was like, yeah, I hope they stop advertising.
Yeah, that's fucked, isn't it? Telling the advertisers to get fucked.
Yeah,
Have
yeah.
you seen,
I rate it.
so all my German mates, they love native ads.
Yeah.
Have you heard of
What,
them?
like Taboola and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you understand that? I don't know. I don't really know.
We've never done it. So yeah, I understand the concept. It's a lot more like listicles and things like that where you've probably seen it. Have you ever been on like a weird article and then at the bottom of the article there's all these other ads and it's like this hack helps reduce stubborn body fat.
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like weird pictures that are just super weird.
Yeah.
Like that. It's that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But no, we don't do anything like that. We don't do anything like that.
Okay,
It's,
fair.
it's something that we could look into in the future because I know that for some brands, especially on like the supplement side, it can work very well.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, a lot of our clients, I think that kind of stuff would work very well for drop shipping,
Yeah.
where you don't give a fuck about brand.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah,
want
facts.
to run it and pump it.
Yeah, facts.
Most of our clients aren't. They're real brands and they focus on brands. So I would be very careful about wanting to run ads like that because it is damaging to brand. Like if you run like imagine I don't know, a very legit supplement company. Like imagine like Huberman had a supplement company,
Yeah, I know
and
selling.
then you see an ad where it's like this weird hack and this picture of some woman like with some weird face. You'd be like, what is this, bro?
Obviously, we're in Dubai, best city in the world.
Yeah.
You're moved here now.
Yeah, live here. Yeah,
fully moved here.
resident.
What has the benefits of Dubai been for you, and why? Because you're staying in the taxi.
Yeah.
We're chatting in the taxi on the way here.
Yep.
Why has Dubai been the choice for you, and yeah, just how is it, bro?
Dubai is sick. So a lot of people hate on Dubai, and the people who hate on Dubai are the people who haven't actually been here. I would usually find. So before I came, I used to hate on it as well. I used to be like, oh, it's all fake, it's all flashy, everyone's soulless, whatever. Came here, spent some time here, and realized actually no, it's not. It's complete opposite. Dubai's sick. It's got such a high concentration of people who are getting after it. Like
Yeah,
that's
facts.
what I love. That's easily the favorite thing for me. Obviously, you've got the other stuff like everything works, it's extremely efficient. It's the safest place I've ever felt on earth. I've never felt this safe, nowhere near in the UK in terms of walking around the street. There's just no problems.
Yeah.
Door unlocked, door opened, don't
Doesn't
care,
matter.
fine. It's clean, everything works, super fast internet. Obviously, we've got the sun, which is great. There's no tax, which is great. But yeah, the biggest thing for me is the people. Like, I've never been anywhere where there's such a high
Which is
concentration.
weird because a lot of people would say the people, like most outsiders would say the people could be the bad thing.
Yes, but I strongly believe that a place is anything in life is what you make it. And so, like, there are good and bad people everywhere, right?
Yeah,
Sure,
facts.
yeah, there's people who are fake and people who are this and that and whatever, but like, I'm not mates with them.
Yeah.
Like, why would it be, right? Like, where are you going? If you go into like the beach clubs every Saturday night and shit like that, then yeah, like, are they the people you want to be mixing with? Versus like here, there's such a high concentration of entrepreneurs, such a high concentration of people like that. And even people with quote unquote normal jobs, like teachers, they've come here with the mindset of, I want to change my life, I want to better my life. So straight away, they're not like
Yeah.
your average person back home. They have that mindset of, I want to get better.
I feel like your viewpoint's pretty valid as well because you've done traveling. Like you also spend a lot of time in Colombia and stuff, which is, you could say on the other side of the spectrum, it's a bit more hectic,
Yeah,
more going
definitely.
on.
Yeah.
You could say more down to earth.
Yeah.
So you've done both sides,
Yep.
and you still choose. Okay, I want to spend a good amount of time in Dubai because I had the same opinion as well. I was like, everyone's saying it's bad, but I love Dubai. It's sick.
Yeah. It
Oh,
is.
so
It is.
cool.
You know, and like,
It's like futuristic, isn't it?
yeah, man. Yeah.
sick.
It doesn't feel, sometimes you're walking about and you're like, what the fuck is this? Or I see these videos of like robots delivering packages and I'm like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I've got one of those little Hoovers in my apartment actually.
Yeah, yeah,
It's one
yeah.
that like scoots around on the floor.
That was sick, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite funny.
Yeah.
actually.
I've never actually used one of those. It does look fun though.
Okay, yeah. So you're traveling a lot.
Yeah.
Why did you choose to travel the way you travel? I'm asking these questions because I also live abroad.
Yeah.
So it's good to know these things. And if you are starting up or your business is going well, I'm probably sure you want to travel as well.
Yeah.
So it's good insights. Is how do you spend your time? How do you travel and why do you travel? Like you said, you're going to Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
What's your reason for going there? Like, do you travel with intent basically? And what's the reason?
I think there is a very healthy middle. So I think a lot of people stay where they are and never move, especially people with online business to just stay in their house or whatever and never leave. The other side is people who become a digital nomad and change place every 2 weeks and whatever. Going the digital nomad route does not work. You cannot build anything of value whilst changing that often. It just takes way too much time and mental power to do that. On the other hand, staying at home and never leaving your home country, I think you limit your views very much.
Yeah.
And for example, if you did just live in Dubai 12 months of the year and never leave and stayed here for years, you probably would lose touch with what's normal,
100%,
right?
100%.
And I think it's very important to do that in terms of understanding the way people think, understanding culture, understanding human psychology, different types of people, and also being grounded, like being reminded, what is important. It's a very important thing. But yeah, doing it with intent, not just blindly traveling all the time and crippling your business.
Yeah.
You can do it properly to where you can actually be more productive. Like when we go to Buenos Aires, that's how you say it. When we go to Buenos Aires in Q1, I'm going with 2 friends, and we're going to be locked in. It's going to be like grind mode.
Yeah.
And I'm predicting we'll probably be more productive in terms of work output than we would here, because here I know lots of people got a very good network here in Dubai. There's always stuff going on. Every day I'm having to say no to invites if I'm busy, right? And it's great to have that, but at the same time, it'll be nice to just be able to just not have to do that, because I'll just have full focus on work, don't know anyone. Obviously, we'll enjoy being in Buenos Aires somewhat. I'm not going to lock in a room 16 hours a day, maybe just 12 hours a day. But yeah, it's mainly going to be work mode when they're
That's sick. Yeah, I feel like Dubai's like pumping. Like there's a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff going on, man. That's the other thing as well. Before I came to Dubai, I just had in my head it was a Muslim country, so no alcohol, no drinking, no party. I didn't know what to expect. But I came here and I don't really drink. I was saying to you in the car, I think it's way more effective to not drink, not go out, not party, not do anything for a long period of time. And then every so often, plan a huge, massive, degenerate sesh where you would just go absolutely wild. Reason for that is when you're not working, you can just have full focus, right? And get everything done. Whereas if you're going out every weekend, it's like acute stress versus chronic stress.
Yeah.
So you're constantly just chipping away at that willpower and that productivity. And you never actually really enjoy it because 1, you do it every weekend, so it's not that fun. And 2, because you're doing it every weekend, you can't go that hard because you're up for work on Monday. And if you do that every weekend, you're going to completely cripple your business, right? So you're kind of just in this limbo of half working, half going out and enjoying yourself. Whereas I say, fuck it. I'm not going out. I'm not doing anything like that for 4 months. And then I'm going to have one ungodly, wild sesh at the end where I can go absolutely crazy, wild festival with my friends, go nuts, right? Massively enjoy that, make lifelong memories because it's so much more of an event and still be productive outside that, right? It's so much better. Okay. Went off on a huge tangent there. What were we talking about?
Traveling plans, etc. So another question is what... So if you were starting off scaling your business, would you advise Colombia, Buenos Aires as a good place to go, like South America?
What, to start off when scaling your business?
Yeah.
No, I would not. When you look at successful people, you look at their lifestyle and you go, that's, it's like someone who has 7 sources of income. You're like, okay, for me to get rich, I need to have 7 sources of income. No. Look at what they did to get rich, not what they're doing now. Yeah. Most people, to get the 7 sources of income, they started off with just 1 and they pushed it. So right now, I can travel and live in Dubai, all this stuff, right? But I didn't do that to get here.
Yeah, 100%.
To get here, I locked myself in a room for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and didn't leave for 2.5 years.
Back in the UK?
Back in the UK, yeah.
Okay, I think that is the main thing people forget.
Yeah, the life's cool, but you need to sacrifice to get there, and the sacrifice still doesn't end. It's not like, unless you're happy with where you're at.
But those days are actually pretty sick. Like,
bro, yeah, like I love it.
Yeah,
bro, that's what I mean. And like, if you're happy with where you are, then you can just sit back and chill and you don't need to grind anymore and you can probably maintain and maybe be okay. I don't want that. I have way bigger goals. I've got a lot of places I want to go. So now, especially on social media, everyone sees this crazy life that I live and they're like, whoa, yeah, Ciaran lives this crazy life. But like, that's like 10% of my life.
Yeah, facts,
the 90% is still me sat in between 4 walls with a laptop, headphones on,
doing nothing
apart from working. That's still my life. It's just I can now squeeze as much wild stuff into the other 10% and massively enjoy life, and that gives me so much satisfaction.
Facts. I feel like for you, from what I can tell, mindset's been a big thing. What have you done to achieve this mindset or an outlook on life?
I've always had an intensity. I've always known I've wanted to do things, and I've always wanted to do something different, and I've always massively thrown myself into whatever I've done. What hasn't always been there is the belief that anything is possible. Like now I 100% know if I want to do something and I put the work in, I can get there, whatever it is. Within reason, right? If I wanted to go and become a professional basketball player,
Yeah, obviously that's a bit different, isn't it?
bit different, right? I'm not 6'6" and I've never played basketball in my life, and I'm 25, right? Probably not going to happen. But in terms of realism, yeah, anything can happen. Like if I want to go build a 9-figure brand, yeah, I can do that. Just give me time, give me a place to work, and I'll do it.
Happen.
Right? Keep me healthy, right? Touch wood, and I'll do it. But that wasn't always there. I specifically remember when I started a business, on my vision board, I want to make $4,000 per month, because that was the goal. I had no idea what was possible. I had no idea. And I specifically remember looking at people who were making all this money, looking at people who are making $100,000 a month and being like, that isn't even possible. Like I remember thinking like, that's either a scam or they're some kind of genius and they just have something innately that I don't have. Yeah. I genuinely was like, I genuinely had in my head, I can't get there. Yeah. And then I just started doing the work, building a business. I had $4,000 a month on my thing. Before I knew it, it was at 20. Before I knew it, it was at 40. And then I was like, oh fuck, like I'm doing this without even realizing, like, of course it's possible. And then I met the people who are at $100,000 a month in real life. I got out of my room. I got out of those four walls, met these people, and I was like, hang on, you're not that smart. You're not that special. You are a normal dude. You still go and take a shit. You still have to wipe your ass. Exactly. You still have to do all this stuff. So you have time in the game and you've had a very good work ethic. That's all it is. It's doing the work that gets you there.
Yeah, that's made a massive difference for me as well, just being around it.
Yeah.
Because then it's normal. If it's not, so this is the thing I've been looking at, it's like reality transurfing. Yeah. So you got to become, do, and then you get. So you can't get something if it's not normal to you. So like, when I sold my business, I'd help my parents a bit and they're like, whoa, this is so crazy. But if it was crazy to me, it wouldn't be happening. Yes. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Completely.
It's got to be normal. So like.
Well, that's one reason why I love Dubai.
Yeah, because it
just normalizes seeing Lambos. You like everyone you chat to is like, man, I'm doing whatever $300,000 a month. You're like, sweet.
I truly believe like money flows, right? So you have to be okay with letting it go. Yes. And I always vision, I don't know, but just like you just got to vision the abundance,
bro.
And it happens, bro.
100%. So like, for me, this has been a big shift in my mindset as well. I didn't take a single penny out of the business for myself until we were at like $50,000 a month.
Yeah, I'm the complete opposite of that. I spend shit tons.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's interesting to see the different mindsets because, like, for me, it was so hard to start spending that money. So hard. Fair. Difficult. Like, I don't know what it was. I almost felt like it wasn't mine. I was like, that's not my money. That's the business's money. And I had so much fear. I don't think I was driven negatively, but I think there was some element of that. Like, I was like, I do not want to be poor. I do not. I was like, I want to be. Like, I want to do something special here. Like, and I was so driven by that. And I was so, like, I'd built this thing. And because it built so fast and I was so inexperienced, I think I had so much, I didn't understand that it was stable. I was like, this isn't stable. I need to, like, hoard this. And I was very in that mindset. And then after a while, I started to realize, hang on, wait, like, no, I've got the skills. I've built this. Yeah. Like, this is going nowhere. I've got a solid team. This is very strong. And then now I'm a lot more comfortable with that. And then, as I started to spend the money, it makes it, like you say, it flows. Like your mind just changes because then you're like, oh well, like you realize money's just numbers on a screen.
It's
like,
fake.
It's weird, isn't it? It's just
it's fake.
It's money, like numbers on a screen. Like I don't give a fuck if it's in the bank account or not. I log in, I see money, I'm like, all right, and then like I spend it, and I'm like, all right, the numbers have gone down, but like I'm not doing it for those numbers on a screen. I'm doing it because I love building a business. Obviously, money's cool, but at the same time, it's more like a leaderboard to me. Like I see it more like a game. Like I used to love video games. I used to be addicted to video games massively, and I loved competitive video games. I didn't like the ones where you just solo doing quests and stuff. I liked ones where there was a leaderboard, you were competitive, like Counter-Strike, League of Legends. I was a proper nerdy computer gamer.
RuneScape?
Yeah, RuneScape, massive. RuneScape, bro. Like I remember grinding away to get my 99 level woodcut in.
Let's go.
I was the competitive games where there's a leaderboard, and that's more what I would see about money. And it's not even like to buy cool shit. It's just like a leaderboard. It's like a competitive. It's like a game. It's like cool. Like now it's 7 figures. How can I get to multiple 7? Okay, how can I get it to 8? How can I get to multiple 8? Right? Yeah. Like it's like and I think when you see it like that as more of a game and you enjoy the process, it comes way easier because like you're not focusing on this goal super far away. You're just enjoying what you're doing.
I think it's so crazy though. Like, it's so much easier to be clear on it being achievable if you're just out of the UK. Is that not true?
Yeah, man.
Bro, the UK is like the worst place for it.
Yeah. Especially if it's like where you've grown up.
Yeah.
And you have no other mates doing anything like this. Like that's me. Like I have no other friends who do anything like this. It is like, if I go back to the UK as well, I said this in a previous podcast. For me, everyone says you are the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with.
Okay.
For me, that is so true.
Okay.
Like I do feel if I'm around, that's why I love being in Dubai. If I'm around people who are getting after it, it brings out those qualities of me so much more. Versus if I'm at home and everyone's drinking or just going out for pints 3 days a week and getting the bag in on the weekend and fucking doing all this, then like I start to feel my drive start to drop a bit. 100%. And I'm like, whoa, like I need to get away from this.
So I think I've always been how I am, to be fair. Like there was only one main friend who also did business, and then the rest just got into it because we were doing it as well.
Sick.
So we just convinced them. Like I live in Bali with like the 4 of my mates from I grew up with.
Quality, that's cool, man.
So doing like agencies, e-com.
Yeah.
My mate's got a clothing brand. He's actually got a physical shop in Leeds.
Sick.
And opening up one in Manchester.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just fucking naturally, we had like a squad, and then obviously it just progressed and just got better and better. But yeah, it wasn't like that at the start. It took a while. But yeah, I feel like I was always like that, to be fair. But yeah, being around it for me obviously is better.
Because I didn't really have that from anyone at home. I developed some very close relationships with other lads doing similar things to me in the space. Yeah. Connor Sunderland is one of them. Go check out his pod. He's a good guy.
Let's go.
Evan Carroll as well. He doesn't make any content now, but he will be soon.
I think I followed him on Twitter the other day.
Yeah.
IG actually.
Yeah, he's on Twitter. You can get on there. Shout out to the boys. You can buy me a lunch for the shout out.
UK as well.
Ireland.
Okay.
Yeah. Conor Gallagher as well. Another legend.
Mate, there's a lot
Peter
of...
Bergen.
Let's go. Shout them all out.
Naming all the boys. Naming all the boys. But yeah, developing like a group of people like that is so... It does mad things for you. Like one, in terms of the value shared. So like Connor and Connor are business partners. They run an email agency. Evan runs a content agency. We run an ad agency. There's no direct competition. Me and Evan slightly technically, they do some ads, we do some content. There's a bit of competition, right?
What does Connor do again?
Email marketing.
Okay, yeah.
But even if me and Evan were technically competitors, the industry is more than big enough. Everyone can eat, right? And so we just openly share stuff all the time. Like we have no holds back on what we share with each other. We'll just give each other our entire business SOPs, whatever it is. We don't care. Fair. Like we've been helping to train some of Evans's new media buyers. Evan's been helping train our content team. Like we just give it all, right? It's so valuable. So that's one side. The other thing is having someone to bounce stuff off, especially as like a solo founder.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah, right. Solo founder, having someone to bounce stuff off is just insane. And then the other one is the competitive element.
Yeah.
So, for example, Connor has just started his podcast, and I've been doing whatever I can to help him. So we've been on a lot of calls talking about the strategy. I've been helping him get some good guests on, helping him with like the marketing side. Like we've been going back and forth a lot on that. And I'm so keen to help him grow. One, because he's a friend of mine. I really want to see him succeed. But the other one, low key, I know by helping him grow, it provides me so much motivation. Because when I see his podcast doing well, I'm like, oh, okay, he's doing well. Now I need to do better, right? Yeah. And it's like that really healthy competition.
We discussed this earlier. I was like, because obviously I would say you're fairly new to the putting yourself out there.
Yeah. Just started on the content side.
And then we were talking like, are you looking to start your personal brand? Because it is, even if you don't want to sell a course or whatever, it's just so good for networking.
Yes.
Like Twitter, I've made no money from Twitter because I was speaking to my mate. He was like, oh, you should have made 100 grand by now. I've made nothing from Twitter, but I was like, I've got loads of connections though.
Mate.
Decent.
And those connections.
And it works and it's net beneficial.
100%. The connections probably will have a financial payoff at some point.
100%. Yeah,
probably
100%.
will. But even if they don't, like in terms of life.
Yeah. The other thing as well, I always think like, I'm going to do a mad podcast with someone and someone back home is going to watch that and go, fucking hell, is he doing a podcast with that dude? Do you know what I mean?
Well, no, what do you
mean? Someone from home in the hometown, like, is that Nathan doing a podcast with that guy? It's like super cool.
Oh, yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's just interesting to think about.
Yeah,
but then it is like one step at a time, things just grow. Like my YouTube channel, I got sponsors now.
Sick.
Yeah, Minia.
How many subs do you have?
6,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a good niche. E-com's a really good niche.
Yeah.
To like be in. But yeah.
Is it more like drop shipping that you talk about?
Yeah, drop shipping. But obviously I'd more talk about like, you want to use drop shipping to build a brand really.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. So pretty much just talk about that. That's
what, as in like start drop shipping and turn it into a brand?
Yeah, so use drop shipping to start, like low barrier to entry. Once you learn that you want to be doing long term. And the ROI on branding
as in long term by like product choice. So not just picking something trending. Is that what you mean?
Basically no gimmicky products.
Yeah.
Trending works, but you don't want gimmicky products.
Like fidget spinners.
Yeah, so there's two options. You either drop shipping to make a bag.
Yeah.
and then you build a brand, or you drop ship and turn the products into a brand. For example, BlendJet, that was drop shipping, turned into a multi-million-dollar company. There's so many examples of it. I did it. I turned drop shipping into a semi-brand and then exited. Like,
what was that product?
I can't say.
Oh,
it's in the contract.
Under NDA.
Yeah, it's in the I actually can't say.
Was it more on that problem solution side?
Nah.
It was more like fashion.
Selling lifestyle. We were selling a luxury lifestyle.
Okay.
Basically sold that just through good content, like good music.
Yeah.
Yeah, good music, good
yeah,
content.
we've considered setting up a brand internally, and we've been through the same conversation that if we were to do it, it would make sense to start drop shipping, and then turn it into a brand.
You just want to confirm the business. That's it.
Exactly.
You just want proof of concept. Then you can.
Yeah. There's no point in getting a product designed with your branding all over it.
But
and
legit, bro, I've got.
something.
I think I'm going to start the fashion brand again, bro.
Yeah.
Because I got into ecom. I started a jewelry brand. At uni.
Yeah.
About raving, skating. I think I'm going to start up again.
Yeah, man.
And then I'll tell you, I can't. We'll bleep it out. But one of my promotion tactics, obviously, keep growing the promotion personal brand.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do when I'm getting these massive guests on, every time someone comes on the pod, I'm going to give them 3 fucking sick rings, bro. Isn't that cool? You give people like solid gold rings.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, wouldn't you love a solid gold ring?
It'd
be sick.
Yeah.
Sovereign. It's coming, mate.
It's coming.
But,
And I'm gonna have to come back on the pod.
Get a solid gold
just
ring.
to get another ring.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you have any silver ones? I'm more silver at the minute.
Yeah, I'm silver guy as well, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, do silver as well.
So you'll have some silver ones, yeah.
Yeah, but looking forward to it. And then what ecom brand would you do if you were gonna?
If it's just to run up a bag, develop our skills a bit more, we're a bit more open to whatever, and we'd probably pick a product that is a lot more, aligns very much with our creative abilities and our skills. Yeah. So for example, how we would gauge it is whenever we bring on a client, there are some clients that we get crazily excited about as a team because we're like, this is such a cool product. Like for example, one of our clients, they were on Shark Tank, and they've Mark Cuban's invested in them, and they basically sell like these protein, like dissolvable pods of protein instead of scoops. And we were like, this is so cool. Like, so you just put the pod in your shaker and then shake it so you can carry the pods, and it's very suitable for a slightly older demographic.
On the travel,
yeah. And people who don't know too much about, people who aren't going to sit and make protein pancakes where they want to measure it out. They just want something easy. And we were like, this is so cool. We can do so much with this product, right? Compared to like a plain black t-shirt where we can sell it well, but we can't get out those creative juices as much. Unless it's a brand like Classic Tees where you can just go crazy with it, right? But yeah, so something around that. If it was for me, if I was like, I want to build a brand, probably something in fashion, jewelry, or supplements. So I'm quite into the supplement side, quite into health.
Yeah, I like the supplements as well. I've got another brand idea, but it's so annoying, man. You can't do everything at once.
You can't. You really can't. Splitting focus is a real thing.
So like right now I'm focused on the network.
Yeah.
And it's taking so much time, man. I want to build the ecom, like building the private network, like ecom community.
Okay. Yeah.
Focusing all my time on that at the moment.
Why is that, like a Discord?
Yeah, Discord group, bit of mentoring.
How many people are in that now?
110.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
You're about to have 111.
111. Maybe 112. Maybe 112. But I want to get the ecom brands going again. Which I will. Start of January. But basically I keep telling myself, get this set up, get this sorted out, and you can move on. Because I feel like if you do too many things, it can go wrong, man.
It can. And I think like I do think there is a natural tendency that people will have to where they are more suited to do that or not. For me personally, every time I've tried it, my brain just gets so muddled, and I'm very, very good at focusing intensely on one thing. I can do 2 things, but as soon as I have multiple projects going on in the business, I do just find that my productivity drops.
Yeah,
it takes when you go deep, and this is something that I see with everyone. When you go deep on something, you get massively outsized returns from going deeper. So it's not like, if you compare like time input to result, it's not a nice straight line, it's a massive hockey stick.
Yeah.
So if you're at 90%, going to 95 will give you way more results than the equal amount of going from 85 to 90, for example. Yeah. Just because it gets so much more efficient. And so focusing on one thing I think is the way to go. But like you say, if there are opportunities where you might want to do multiple, and I think that's okay true, as well.
True.
Just
both's okay. It depends how much you can handle, I think.
Depends what you can handle, depends what the goals are, and also depends on your capacity in your team, right? If you have a good team behind you, then you can definitely do multiple things.
All right, the last question. Let's go.
Fire away. Hit me.
If you were to start again from zero, what would you do?
So is this me specifically, or
if you everything stripped from you right now,
Okay.
what would be the process?
Okay, so let's say like business crumble for some reason. I've got a shitload of debt.
But
that
you
I'm
have
trying
your
to pay off.
knowledge. You have your knowledge.
Have my knowledge, but I'm fucked. So yeah, I've said this before. Worst case scenario is not that bad at all for me right now, because if I lose everything, even if I get a shitload of debt, what happens? I can move home with my parents. Okay, I love my parents. Spending a bit of extra time with them, not so bad. I could very quickly walk into a job as a closer. Could be a high ticket closer, very easily. Comfortably could earn 15, 20 grand a month.
Yeah.
Comfortably. Because I've sold so much for my own agency.
Yeah.
I've always been the person doing the selling that I know I could walk into.
Yeah, facts.
I know that it's such a rare skill. So I could comfortably get that, comfortably pay off the debt, whatever. That would be graft. And I like owning my business. I don't like working for someone else. So I wouldn't want to do that forever, but that would be like a short-term thing where I know I can pull myself out of any hole with that skill that I have. 100%. From there, then yeah, it would be like the cool thing is, took me 2 years to hit 7 figures in the agency. If this agency disappeared and I had to build a new one, it would not take me anywhere near that, because I know exactly what to do. It'd probably be there within 6 months, because it'd just be a case of getting the team members on board, getting them ramped up and ready, getting an acquisition system in place, pumping it, spending 10 hours a day on sales calls, and filling the team.
Done.
It would be as simple as that. So I know that could get back to where I am very, very quickly. For someone starting out new, I went into agency. I think, from what I've seen in the industry, a better way in for most people would be to start as a sales closer, remote high-ticket closer.
I think so.
I've recommended quite a few people, as I've started to put myself out on social media, some people have been asking me for advice. How can I get started? I want to build an agency as well. I'm like, you can. I did. That's how I started it, from zero, with no experience or skills. But going in as a closer is easier, I think. When you are a closer, you are like half a business owner, half not. You don't enter as an employee. You enter bit higher up on the hierarchy ladder, in line with the owner, right? So you do have a bit more frame, and you are a bit more, you don't have a boss. But you only have to learn one skill, which is sales. So there's less to focus on. And that skill is extremely valuable if you do want to then go start an agency or any other business, right? However, if you want to start an agency from zero, you have to learn sales, you have to learn marketing, you have to be able to book in the calls that you then close, you have to learn the skill that you are providing, you have to learn team building, hiring, management, all this stuff, right? Which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot to learn at the same time. Whereas if you can just master the skill of sales and then go in, I think it makes sense. And I think you will be able to pick. Luckily, I love the business model that I landed on, thankfully. I think it suits me perfectly. I think it suits my personality perfectly, and what I like to do. But that was just chance. I just randomly landed on this, and it turned out to be the one for me. A lot of people isn't the case. I see a lot of people in agencies or running brands.
Hard work.
It is. It's hard work.
It's hard work.
And you need to be a massive people person.
Yeah,
that's the. I always see people who are trying to run an agency and they just do not like people, or they're extremely introverted. And I'm just like, it's probably in the wrong business model, because you cannot get an agency off the ground without being people, because you have to be a people person to sell, to bring in your revenue, to bring in clients. You have to get clients to trust you enough to give over their hard-earned cash. That is not an easy thing to do. They have to have a lot of trust in you, and you have to instill that trust in them, right? Then the other thing is on the team. To your product is people, as I said before. So you have to hire people, you have to get them bought into your vision, they have to believe in you, and then you have to be able to manage them as well. So you've got massive people skill requirements on both sides. Compare that to something like drop shipping. It's just you in your bedroom, you have a product, which is no people. You're just running ads, which is no people. Like you don't need that. You need to understand psychology for the ads, but you don't need to physically be able to be good with people.
Some of my mates do not do a single call with any of their employees. They've never seen their face.
Yep.
They don't do any calls.
Yep.
And they can sit in their bedroom and make 500 grand in a month. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're very introverted. You can do that completely with dropshipping.
Yeah. That is dropshipping compared to agency, where you will be on calls
most of the time.
Most of the time. Yeah, most of the time. Thankfully, I'm in a position now where I have a really great team, and Bruno, my COO, shout out, legend, he helps run the team massively. So he basically leads the team and leads that front. So I'm not on that many daily calls.
Yeah, perfect.
I will run team culture calls when we have them. I will run team culture calls and like team activity calls if we have fun and get on a call and enjoy stuff. I'll also have calls with Bruno and with the exec team. But that isn't all day, every day. If we're onboarding clients, that's where I'll have a lot of calls. So I'll be on a lot of sales calls with potential clients, vetting them, seeing if it makes sense for them to join us, seeing if we want to work with them, that kind of stuff. But if we're not onboarding clients, like right now, we've not. We just turned away 7 clients. We're not onboarding right now. It's a bit more free, my calendar, in terms of calls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Final last question.
Final.
Typical UK lad.
Yeah.
Is looking at all this stuff.
Yes.
How do you convince them that it's pretty achievable and real, this online business stuff?
I mean, I believed it enough that I started it, but I was still extremely skeptical. But despite the skepticism, I did it. I think that's what you have to do. I think you have to understand that you're going to feel skeptical. You're going to see people shouting about 100 grand a month on YouTube and whatever. You're going to feel skeptical, but that's okay. You have to do it despite feeling skeptical, and you have to just trust in the process and just know that if you put in the work, it's going to work, right? Look, and one thing that helped me massively is seeing, and I wish I did this earlier. I didn't do this. I wish I did this earlier. This is one thing I would say, is watching videos, spending the time watching videos on YouTube of people who have done it. And but specifically like watching them do it. Yeah. Like find someone who's super successful, go on their YouTube channel, order by earliest video and watch their earliest video, and you'll be like, whoa, like that guy is the same guy. Like go find a person, go find Iman Gadzi, right? Iman Gadzi makes whatever, $1 million a month, I don't know what he does. You'll be like, I can never become him. Go look at his previous videos, order by earliest, and you will see, and you'll be like, holy fuck, like this kid became this guy. Of course I can do the same. And I wish I did that earlier. I wish I looked and saw real examples, because it would have made it seem more realistic. Whereas I didn't have that for a long time.
100%. Sweet. Nice one. That was sick. That was a really good pop-up.
I enjoyed it, yeah. Good to
have you on, bro.
Thanks, man. Wait.
Mike's, man. Nice one, bro.
Yeah, appreciate it.